Hi everyone, good afternoon again to Saturday Live. And here with me today is Miss Vatsala Nair Manarahan here with us today. Thank you so much for being with us today, Miss. And before we start with anything, I would like to introduce to you what a wonderful woman she is. She's a social entrepreneur and activist and community enabler who strives to facilitate women to rediscover her value through financial independence for women, especially for women who experience domestic abuse. So thank you again for being with us today, Miss.
Oh, my
Thank you.
great pleasure.
So before we start off with anything else, I'm let like as everyone with everyone, I wanted to know everything, your background and all of that. So
Well, I mean, thank you so much for having me here, part of this interview. And yes, my greatest pleasure to tell a lot more about what I do so that it can inspire more women out there. So, where did I start? Basically, about 6 years ago, I was just a stay-at-home mom, doing nothing, having my kids. I just delivered that point of time. And then from then on, I just embarked into my journey of peer support in social media group. So every day I used to listen problem by women. They came back and they said that but but that's but all that. I realized that they came back. They constantly came back every week, or probably a month. It was this coming back to ask for the same. So when this was a pattern, I thought that the core issue, the grassroots issue is not solved. So that's when I analyzed the pattern there, and I realized that all of these women do not have support. They also lack financial, not more financial. So, so when I saw that, I thought there should be a different kind of intervention to be provided. So as I asked them to start up business or it's just not about starting up anything, something that gives them value, purposeful living, and that reduces self-esteem. So that was when I said, okay, so this is working, and a lot of them came back happier, even though they earned certificate, kind of like this is it. So at that point of time, I started this campaign called Check Certificate SC Zero Harm. So then currently I changed that to be more inclusive. But yes, it was then I started. So as I started that, I also just started more like a community center, gathering doing painting, so renting of spaces. I had a counselor was there, so have some spa. It's more like a thing that moms would love to be. But I think journeying on from there, I had a few hiccups, but I didn't know how to run business. Like because I know that I want to cause, and then being I was from a NGO background, and I thought that I don't want to do this NGO. I want to do this sustainably. I want my cause to be sustained by a business model. So that was the time I applied for Magic, Malaysian Global Innovation Creativity Center, Social Entrepreneurship Bootcamp. I have no idea what I was just applying, but I did apply and I got in because of the cause that I wanted to solve. So as I went in there for the 12 days, that was my life-changing moment. It just spinned my life like 12 days, made me realize so many things, made me realize that this is what I want to do in my life, right? So from then on, everything changed. And today I'm just an activist and social entrepreneur sitting here with you. Yeah, that's it. That's the journey where it started.
that's really packed. Number one, we have a lot of questions to unpack for that. So you did tell me about the 10 ringgit campaign, but I know this is like more of an initiative from your first venture into social entrepreneurship. May you like expand on what it is?
All right. So the 10 ringgit campaign was basically it wasn't something, it wasn't a product, it wasn't a service. It was more of like a mindset changing campaign. So every day I was preaching to women who were not earning an income. I was focusing on them a lot because like I said, the women who came forward mostly about 75%. So I thought that was the first thing I should tackle, right? So as they came in, I said, no, at least at least do something for the 10 ringgit so that you can buy yourself things that you love, your favorite ice cream or even favorite, I love syrup bandung and nasi lemak, so I love to buy yourself your favorite, or even sanitary napkin. That's like your basic needs. You should be able to pay for yourself, right? Or even if you want to go off your like, you should be able to pay for it, right? So that was just, it just started. If you ask me when I started it exactly, I don't have a date for that, but I know that I started it to enable them. So it started off from there. Today, my beneficiary becomes my advocate. It just goes on ripples on its own. That I have women all around the world, in Singapore, Denmark, who share success stories. And these are, some of them are not the women who I came in contact with. Probably follow from social media, probably not like their men, but they
did make intervention to their life.
So it was
So
very,
it was
very
very,
powerful
very
campaign.
powerful campaign, which I didn't realize. But today I thought, hey, this is what is life changing, because that 10 ringgit, it gave her back her value. It was something that was diminished by, if you're undergoing abuse, a lot of time your self-esteem has been crushed. You're very dependable for many reasons. So when I give her back her value, I make her know what is her worth. She has an identity. It was just easier to tweak the problem. It's just easier to enable her to facilitate the journey towards, I call this leave or leave. It sounds the same as the LIVE or LEAVE. So this is something that I focus on for survivors of domestic violence.
So for like the 10 ringgit campaign, like right there, right now watching, and she wanted to change her life. So what would be your advice to her to start the 10 ringgit campaign?
Right. So earlier days, I just tell them, do what you love. Do what makes you happy. Their hands with them, but I can journey with them, right? So that's what I look forward. And of course, the extension of it, some of them come up with ideas. They just start a business and they just go on their own. And there are a few other people who need a little bit more coaching, mentoring. So I have another program for that called Startup One Nita.
Startup One Nita.
Yeah, so that's my training module for enabling women to start a business from home.
So can you explore more, like, can you explain to us more about like the Startup Juanita?
Right. So Startup Juanita is focused on enabling women to start a business from home with low resources, with her own strengths and skills, and of course, including a little bit more on the ethical part, business ethics, little bit of branding. And I have my partner. Her name is Roslyn. She's a digital marketer, business consultant, who helps increase their visibility online. Nowadays, social media is a free platform that can use to market your products, right? So we just increase their visibility. So you don't only come up with a product, we also teach you how to validate, how to do costing, basic costing, basic branding, how to come up with posts, how to make your first sale on your page. That is our journey. So it's just a 5 days workshop. We do it 2 hours a day, whereby 3 to 5 p.m. So that's the time the kids will be sleeping, right? So that we give the mom, the women, a little bit more time to spend for her. And then after the 5 days, she will be with us for the 3 months mentorship. But it doesn't end there. We also have a community there. We create called Homepreneur Empowerment Network Facebook group, whereby we want her to grow with us. Right? So one day when she's hashtag it for yourself, identity, you're going to journey with us throughout, and it's going to be a pleasant journey for sure.
It is basically a journey through some like self-empowerment and peer empowerment with your fellow women, right?
Absolutely.
That's really nice. To think that for someone who's been experiencing abuse and to know that there's gonna be, a league of women backing her up
Yep.
to start again on her own feet is good. Is a
Absolutely.
life-changing experience for not for just for her but for everyone else.
Yes.
So now we'll move on to the Moms Village Malaysia, because this 10 ringgit campaign actually came from the Moms Village
Yep.
Malaysia. So can you tell us more about the
Right. So Moms Village Malaysia is a Facebook page name. The company name is Moms Village Venture, right? It started in July 2018. So when I started it, it was a very community space, it was like a co-working space for mothers. I was just validating the idea, getting moms out of their homes so that they can have a breather space. The vision of Moms Village is to create a tribe behind every woman. So again, we are there for her, behind her, and we want her to know that. So to get her to come out and all that, but after a year, I thought it wasn't sustaining. Like I said, I didn't know how to run business, so I went on to learn about business.
Okay. So
Alright.
again, to recap, we're Miss Vats is actually explaining about Mom's Village Malaysia. So can you again explain to us?
Rewind back.
Yeah, rewind back.
Rewind 20 seconds.
What Mom's Village is?
My Wi-Fi is slow here, but you can use my hotspot. Okay. Can I like go?
Yeah. Internet still can be a little bit of a bothersome, but now we're gonna go on again to discussing Mom's
Yeah.
Village. So yeah, you're discussing about the 3 pillars.
Yes. So the 3 pillars are advocacy, empowerment, and community building. So in the advocacy part is where I do a lot of advocacy awareness on domestic violence, and then the empowerment part where I introduce the financial independence part, the hashtag 10 ringgit.
Yeah.
So, and then moving on, the community building part is the tribe that we have, MB tribe, Ring a Ring for, Chit Chat with Roses. And our beneficiary come from women, not only women who are being abused, yes, but our focus beneficiaries always been women are being abused and recovering abuse and all that, the survivors. So from there, they journey with us throughout. Though it doesn't just end there, right? I mean, when you tell them, you're being abused, okay, then they're like, okay, how am I going to do it? Because the whole thing about leaving or recovering from domestic abuse is that you need to restore back their self-esteem. You need to ensure that they are safe, right? And then you need to ensure that they are self-sustainable. okay, so that they can make decisions about their life. And the whole thing about domestic violence happens to be, usually it is not with the survivors, you know. So I focus on the restoration of it. This way, if this is going to happen again, then I know that you have these options. And if this is not going to happen, then it's always wise that, you know, I have to step out from this relationship. And that is an absolute discretion of the survivor, you know. But my role here is to offer her the resources, as much resources as I can, to enable that journey, to facilitate the journey for her. Because as I see, a lot of survivors, of course, when you ask them to call all these numbers, those are like big steps for them. You know, it's like, okay, that's very scary process. You know, it means if I call them, then they're going to come and catch my the perpetrator, and who's going to feed my children, because I'm entirely dependent on him. So my first step is to ensure that she is self-sustainable herself. So sometimes I tell them, no, it's okay. You can, if you don't know how to do business, then I match you up with people who are actually doing selling products already. You can do drop shipping. You know, so I have also a pool of people that they are established mompreneurs also selling product of value, who they can be that earn some income, and at least they get some exposure. Yeah, like I said, it's a handhold that it's well planned properly. Of course, I know the core problem.
Okay. So thank you for being with us still. Apologies for that. So again, just to do a little recap, Ms. Vatsala is actually explaining to us what Mom's Village is all about, and now we're explaining the three pillars of what Mom's Village is at its core.
Yes, so like I said, we focus on three main pillars, which is advocacy, empowerment, and community building. So under the advocacy, we have Ring a Ring for Roses. That's basically a movement right now. It started during MCO, basically replicating the Bell Bajao campaign that was done in India, where we call bystander intervention to intervene violence movement in the neighborhood. So we called out men, you know, the Bell Bajao to ring a bell in the neighborhood just to intervene the violence movement. But basically, you go and ask, do you have milk at home? Do you have newspaper? But you know, it sends across two strong message to the perpetrator. Say, hey, I'm watching you. You have to watch your steps. You know, and the second thing is a more important one to the survivors, to tell them that, you know, we are here. I have came forward for you, and you know, I want you to have courage to come and ask me for help. It's a very important message that we send across, because the whole thing about domestic violence is that they go into this fear mode because they are afraid, what will people say? People ask me to stay because of it's a family problem. Domestic violence is not a family problem. It's a punishable crime in Malaysia. You know, if you make a report, you know, the police can take action. You will be represented by the DPP, you know, the government lawyer, and there is a certain processes that you go through. So it is not a family problem that we should be hush about. That's something that I see a lot of. Something that's going on in the communities, to keep quiet, to sweep it under the carpet. No, you know, it needs to be intervened. So that's on the advocacy part. And then the empowerment part is, of course, to enable her to earn that 10 ringgit first. So I focus very much on financial independence, and also the community buildings. That's more like psychosocial support, to get her out from the home, to get her breathe a fresh air again, you know, to know that there are this pool of people who believes in her, who's going to support her journey towards, you know, whatever that she's doing. And once she knows that, she will do it for herself. You know, she won't need us to be there all the time. She will do it for herself. We just have to be telling her that we are here, you do it. You know, you fall back to us anytime you want. And that's exactly what we preach and we do on Mom's Village.
And that's good because, like, um, support is sometimes like all you need to get back yourself on your feet. And also, it does help for a fellow survivor to hear more stories from other people as well, to encourage also
Absolutely.
the people that they know who are experiencing this kind of abuse,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, in terms of like the community part, like how do you guys like get to hang around, or like how do you guys like communicate with each other?
All right. So I used to do play dates and mommy dates, and we also do business showers. So business showers, like not baby showers, business shower, calling in all these homepreneurs to pitch their product, and you see maybe people might want to collaborate with you, and that's something that we do before the MCO started, and then the MCO came in, and then we switched it to virtual. So it's still going on, but just that it's a little bit more virtual. We do it monthly. And then, of course, beyond that, we have a group in Facebook called Homepreneur Empowerment Network, whereby for most of the groups, they are all sellers and buyers. But here we create the sellers as well, so that they can, and they have a community of buyers and also other sellers who can inspire each other. We focus a lot on community over competition. So we say we're going to grow as a community. And with the MCO happening and all that, there is a shift on how we're going to do business. Because if you're just thinking about only I'm going to make money, you won't be sustaining for long. It has to be a very community effort. It has to be something that solves a community problem, a need, a pain in people. Then you will actually make money or make profit, because it's for mutual benefits.
And we can also see that there's a lot of like homepreneurs, like coming up right now during MCO. We do know like working outside is not like the only way to sustain yourself. It's also like finding your own niche, like learning your own skills, like using your own skills to make profit, right?
Absolutely.
And can you share us more like stories on to the other fellow moms or like other fellow women who has like success stories behind the Mom's Village?
All right. For me, success is something very subjective to us, right? If you ask me, the moment she decides that she's going to do this for herself is my success story already. I'll share this one story. It very recently happened and very close to my heart. She was someone who's very well-to-do, and I call this anonymous story Lara. You can actually Google it on check it out on my Facebook. The anonymous survivor, Lara. So Lara is from a very well-to-do family. However, the husband has constantly abused her, by words, made her feel worthless and all that. So she used to bake cakes and make biscuits. And whenever she gives it around the neighborhood, everybody loves it. But when she gives it to her husband, he will tell her that, it's okay, nothing so great in here. And then when she says that she's going to sell this, and he's like, how much can you earn? So if that is the case, you go to work and I will look after the child at home. Those kind of things. Very, very demotivating. So she used to cry every day. She used to feel worthless about herself. And when she came to me, I said, no, just do it. Just because one person says that it is not worth it doesn't mean it is. It's just someone's opinion. Your belief about yourself matters more. So what she did was she changed. They had a storeroom, so she cleared out one clutter, one part of it, and then she made it like a mini baking corner. And she used to bake every day biscuits and cakes and used to sell it out. So what happened was that one day they had this, they went to wedding, and then they need to give this ampao, right, like a pocket money for this bride and grooms, and the spouse realized that he forgot to bring his wallet, so he needed to call one of his friends to borrow some money first. So the wife said, no, you don't have to call them. I have enough money with us. And he was like, oh, do you know how much we need to give? It's 300 ringgit. Do you have 300 ringgit? In that tone. And she said, yes, I do have. And it's our money and he was like shocked. He said, it's our money. Where did you get that money? And she said, I bake now. I sell cakes and biscuits, and this is our money. You can use this first, and then you can maybe pay me back later. So during their journey back home, he did not even ask her, didn't even say a word. So went back home. The next day, he actually took off. he stayed at home to watch what his wife was doing. So she did the same thing. She got up, she sent the children to school, they came back, they fed them, and then put them to sleep at 2 p.m. And then she started baking. She started baking and she started doing all these online orders via social media, and that's it. And he felt so bad. He said, I'm not going to treat you like that again. And that restoration for me was powerful, and she said that, if you ever put me down again, I will leave this marriage, because I don't want my children to model that behavior. For me, that was powerful. And that was needed to be done. And I'm not teaching women to leave marriages. I'm just teaching them to stop themselves from being in this power dynamics, and redeem that power for themselves, be self-sustainable, be empowered for themselves. The whole thing about empowerment is about making their own choices, and that should be allowed to be made. So this story is, for me, it's already success. I know she's not going to, I don't know if she's going to be a millionaire one day or not, but that is not how I measure success. This turning point for me is already a success story. So, but there's so many other stories similarly. Someone who just started drop shipping, right? They earned the 10 ringgit. I just bought my child their favorite toy. And that brings happiness for her. So for every one of these women, their happiness is very subjective to themselves. But those are definitely success stories for me.
I mean, that's true. Like, you can only measure success personally and on your own. And to know that Laura basically changed her world like 180 degrees when you think about it is empowering.
Very empowering.
Empowering, like, it shows that people, like, women in marriages who are like experiencing a lot of marital problems, they know like something can be done.
Yep, there's hope. There's
hope in changing it. Like, and it doesn't just usually involve like leaving the marriage behind. It's sometimes standing up for yourself and showing what your true worth is to your husband and to your family.
Yep.
And that's really such an empowering thing to do.
Yep.
I do know that you also have, like you did mention earlier, you have Zoom live sessions where you also share some stories with other fellow entrepreneurs. Can you share us more about
Yes, that is called Chit Chat with Roses. So me and my partner, we interview. I mean, it's always very boring to hear it from us, right? It's always screaming, get yourself, earn the 10 ringgit for yourself. It's so boring. But when you hear it from other women who have done it, and they have probably also failed just like us, it feels more, they could they connect to that journey even better. I'm not talking about women who have like listed in the Forbes list, or what richest women in the world. No, I'm talking about women who are doing business from home and doing it very well. So we call them in, we do interview. We don't ask them for their success story. We tell them, tell me your failures. Tell me why do you do what you do. What does this mean to you, so that it would inspire other women to come out and earn that money for themselves. That is something that we focus on. So we do it like 2 times a week, on every Wednesday and Saturday. So, we just get these women on board and interview them on a few questions. Then we have like a rapid fire question, a little bit more fun part of it. But yes, that's not the only thing. We also make them visible. There are a lot of people watching. They get engaged. They want to get their products even. So for me, that's also making sales for them.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's a whole journey with us. Yeah.
That's really fun. Like, because usually people just look up to like the ones who are like up there, but basically there's something to learn with everyone in single,
Absolutely.
and it's also free marketing for them.
Yes.
Are there any like memorable stories behind like in one of those live sessions that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, each one of their stories, if I were to write a book, how to success by failing, it would be just so memorable, because each one of them actually told us that, they failed, but they got up. None of them said that I failed, I stopped. They said that I failed and I got up. And that is something that each one of them, resonated the same. They all said the same thing. We failed, but we found a way that it worked. We learned why it didn't work, So that matters a lot. And yeah, each one session with them is definitely memorable. Definitely. Yeah.
it shows that like the road to success is a lot of like failures and mistakes along the way. I mean, that's like
Absolutely.
one of the things that most people tend to like, overlook. Especially with very successful entrepreneurs, they just think like it's like point A to B and then that's it. That's already success. But in sessions like these, that people get to know like these entrepreneurs are like human as well. Like they get to experience a lot of like trials and triumphs along the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
So
because they are not only entrepreneurs, they're also probably mothers, juggling. It's not easy to, right just now when you walk into my home, you saw what's outside there, all my casting drying and my home. This room is where I do my live videos, and I have another room where all my castings are there. So everywhere that I live or everywhere I'm present, it becomes my workstation because my kids are all over me. I'm still a homemaker. Yeah, I think so. That's what I still make myself. I keep looking. No, you're still doing this at home. Yeah, but that matters because we are juggling. While I wouldn't use the word juggling. I say I just integrate all of it together and see how I can do it best. Some days I just want to be a mother. Some days I want to be an entrepreneur. Some days I'm an activist, a staunch activist, or some days I just want to be a daughter, like to my mother. Every day I need to choose who I want to be, and these are the same journey that all these women go through. So yes, it matters, and it matters that they know they're not alone.
That's true. Yeah. And again, like the community behind just empowers them to be like the best version that they can be.
Yeah.
But now moving on forward to the other project that you have, which is one that you conceived during Magic Bootcamp as well, right?
Oh, right.
Can you tell us more about Magic Seed?
Okay, so why is it called Magic Seed? Obviously, because I conceived this project in Magic. Yeah, so yeah, Magic is like, this is Magic Seed. This is
Show us like our viewers right there.
So this is Magic Seed. This is made of recycled paper, and it's an eco-friendly gifting that you can plant this and it grows into a plant.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is a wildflower. So I have basil, I have sawi, I have bayam, spinach and all that. So these are basically made of recycled paper. So because if you're in an SE, I'm a social enterprise, you need to have three main pillars. You need to have your beneficiary. It has to benefit the people. It needs to benefit. You have to make profit. You need to have a sustainable business model that bring in profit so that your social impact sustains. And thirdly, you need to have something that saves the planet. So this is my way of saving the planet while doing all this. And not only that, this is also something we offer drop shipping for our women if they want to. Sometimes they say, I don't have money to start a business. I just need some money. Okay, fine. You can sell this.
Yeah.
You can save up that money and you can start up your own business because not everyone wants to do Magic Seed. Not everyone wants to just, do something like maybe I want to do baking or whatever. It has to be something that gives her purpose, her value, her own skills, strengths, and passion. So I cannot be dictating, no, you have to learn about makeup or bakery and all that. It has to go back to her. But you can come here and be part of this drop shipping, earn that income, save that money, and you start your own, all right? But you already learned along the way with entrepreneurship. You know who your customer segments are, how they behave, how to prepare your invoice and all that. It is a learning journey by yourself. So by the time you go and start your own business, you already have this basically street smart, business school, Che.
You kind of know what to do already.
Absolutely.
It's more of like a baptism by fire in a way as well.
Yeah. So this is made of recycled paper. So these papers are usually from the trainings that we do, all these mahjong papers, right? We also collect from wherever we can, and then we make them into seed bombs and we sell them. People want us for birthday parties and all that. We also make plantable papers, whereby the paper itself you can just plant it.
Yeah, you have like the seed.
Yeah, we also have plantable pencils. So yes, we are working on innovating more products as well. So this is something that we do, and it's very close to our heart as well. It gives value for people, planet, and celebrations. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. But like, how did you come up with this idea? Like, did you talk to your mentors as well, or like?
So I am like this idea ADHD. I have so many ideas in me. I love innovation. I don't like to do business like other people. I want it to be something special. I want to be known for something that I'm doing. I need to know that my product offers a value for people. It solves a problem, not a short, scenery problem. So when all this were in my idea bank, I have like idea bank at the back of my head. So when I went to Magic Ecosystem Builder program, and we had to craft out a business model canvas. So I had like a few experts around me, and I said, you know what, I have this idea. What about like craft it out there? So like, okay, and put it all into papers. And that's why when it was named Magic Seed, because basically it was from Magic that I got the name from. So where did I find it? Those recently I used to see all its viral videos. I used to see all these viral videos. Then I used to see whether in Malaysia whether it's there or not. So this was one of it. And then I also run another business. It's actually a hobby. It's belly casting. So I was first in Malaysia to bring that forward as well. So I do all this kind of things. It has to be unique and also give value for people. So yes, anything in viral that comes in, I just try it. You don't fail anything by trying, right? So that's where I got the idea, and it didn't just stop at an idea. I started prototyping it, and then validating it, and then getting feedback, and now making it better. So yes,
that's your newest baby.
Yeah, it's my baby.
So you did also mention earlier that you have like a belly casting. Can you share us more about that? I've seen one of the pictures from your Instagram, and like it's really cool. So like, can you tell us more to like the viewers? Like
yes,
it's much more known in US, right?
Yeah,
in Western countries.
Yes, correct. It's live casting. So of course in Malaysia they have this baby feet and hands and and all that. But for this, it's belly casting by itself. It's a pregnant belly 3D sculpture on its own. So I have two. One is just a plain belly, and one more is a HD belly, whereby you can see all those lines, that belly button and all that. So I'm specialized in that HD belly casting. So I can even do face casting or anything that I want to cast. But that's also something that was very close to my heart. It started off as a hobby, and right now it's also something that generates income for me. The thing about starting up a business is that, especially a social enterprise, right? And with me not knowing how to do it, I used to do a lot of other things to pump in money inside here to ensure that this sustains. So when I came out from the SE bootcamp, I had to learn how to ensure that this business sustains on its own. So I used to do busy board for children. Like I said, I'm this idea ADHD, but I do make it. And today, whatever idea that like the busy board for children, today I want to teach other women to do it so they can earn some money from their homes and all that. Yeah. So that's how my journey is.
That's so cool. Like, guys, like it's never too late to like do whatever that you want, makes you happy. And any idea in your head is not a crazy idea.
No.
It could be $1 million startup for all we know, right?
No, it's not even like think out of the box.
Yeah,
I have no box. I literally have no box. I have no limitation. I just do anything that, and I go into this mode like, even if I don't know, I learn how to do it. No, so me and my partners, like, it's okay, we accept first, then we learn how to do it. It's okay, fine.
It's like learning on the way.
Yeah.
I mean, so was with life. Like you see the problem, you try to find a solution, and then it's basically a journey from there. Finding a solution, right?
Absolutely.
So now we're moving on to like the next question. Do you have like any other sufficient platforms to help women in Malaysia? Like you did mention earlier that you were a volunteer for VOW, which is violence against women. So can you share us more about that?
Yes, Women's Aid Organization, like I said, when I earlier started, as I received all these women, I kept telling them to go and make a report and all that, but it wasn't happening. So I kept wondering, why is it like that? Why is it that they don't come back? So I didn't know the psychology, the cycle of abuse. So I thought, okay, if I go and learn about it, then I'll be in a better position to guide them. So W had their ambassadorship program, so I signed up for it. I got it. I went in and learned, and then I came out. And then as I hear to them, I analyze the pattern. I say, okay, you go and do this. That's when I went to Magic, and then I came out back and said, okay, now I'm so emotional. The thing about domestic abuse is that you become very attached to the survivors, right? And that is not a very healthy thing, because I should learn how to detach myself. Because I was not able to cope with that emotion, it was draining for me as well. So I went for a lay counseling course for 4 months to ensure how to ground my emotions, how to respond to them better instead of reacting. And then I came back, and then I had the Social Innovation Fellowship. So you see, for me, because from my journey towards social entrepreneurship advocacy came from homemaker.
Yeah.
Of course, before that I was a clinical research associate. I was working in MNC and all that. But the 6 years of not doing anything, sometimes I want to say a word, I'm not able to articulate it properly because the word is here, because I don't talk to people. Talking is a skill. Public speaking is a skill. It just deteriorated.
Yeah.
So then I thought that, for me to regain back all that, I need to go on and learn and learn and maybe unlearn a few things and relearn it again. So my last year, the 6 months, August to December, it was all about learning. And it didn't stop just there. For me, it's like, okay, the more I learn, then I realized I have more to learn. And that was the journey, how I crafted this whole thing, right? So WO was the first one I have connected, and then of course the SIF Social Innovation Fellowship by NGO Hub. There's also something that I also learned there. These are the two organizations that I am affiliated with, and of course Magic, because I'm part of the Ecosystem Builder program. And this three, currently that's all that I've done. Maybe it will grow later on more. I keep applying for so many things because I want to learn more. The more I learn, the more I'll be able to do.
And the more you can help.
Yes.
It just there's really, it's like a ripple effect,
Correct.
Like once you learn, there's something that you can share and teach to other people. That's really cool, you guys. So I do have a question with regards to like the family aspect, since that we usually talk about like the women in the family. But what do you think is like the role of the father in educating their daughters to becoming more aware with their rights, especially in the society and like the family structure?
I think everyone plays a very important role in this journey, whether it's the father, whether it's the mother, the brother, the sister, the grandparents, and anyone. It's just so important. You see, even like while we are talking, you can hear my son there, right? So that's what always happens, even while we are doing interviews. And it's very organic that happens, because I do live in a home and they are part of my life, right? But educating them comes from, sometimes we come up with our own cultural backgrounds or our beliefs, and sometimes it's not it is not something that is, very gender biased and all that. So that has to change. A lot of times we are always, I don't know, it's somehow sugar coated with culture or religion and all that, which needs to change. We need to open our eyes to be a little bit more gender sensitive. We don't tell boys don't cook, because cooking is basically a life skill. Everybody needs to eat. If you don't know how to cook, how will you survive? You cannot live on love and sunshine. Or you cannot tell to girls that the driving car is not for you, because we need car as a necessity in today's world. So it's we have to be very sensitive. You don't tell boys don't cry, because if they grow up keeping their emotions for themselves, it is not a right thing to do. So a lot of things we need to, I would say,
unlearn as a society.
Yes, please. And play an active role in that. Sometimes, like I said, why I do this Ring a Ring for Roses, because I call out for bystander intervention. We often look away when things like this happen. We were taught to look away. It is not your problem. But the more we looked away, it caused more problem, because it means the perpetrator can do more things more freely. Like, who's going to ask me, right? That has to change. And that will only change when we intervene. It stops right there. And who's going to say this? We cannot always wait for this activists or the politicians, the policymakers to come and do it. It has to happen at grassroots. And what is the core of the grassroots? Every homes. We need to make it safe for every homes. And who is the core in every homes? It is the people in there. It's mother, father, the children, and everyone plays a role. So it goes back to the values that we are in. So see, it goes back to deeper and deeper and deeper. So you need to be very sure what kind of values are we teaching our children, our parenting, our beliefs, how we model that behavior. Like I say, if you're abusing, your children are definitely adapting to that. And what happens is that it seeps through generations. So when you stop it at one generation, the whole generation heals. And that is the beauty part of it, because if you stop at this generation, means your next generation is just not going to do it, or probably not going to learn about it. It's just unlearned, and that's it. And that is very important thing needs to happen in today's society. So yes, everybody plays a role, and it's a very important role that they play.
It's such a, I mean, that's true, but like, as a person, like how can you be more self-aware and like because right now it's still like embedded in our brains. Like when something happens, especially if it's like a family problem where like someone gets abused with someone, like as a citizen, as a concerned citizen, how do you approach it in a way where it wouldn't seem like you're actually intruding? Because that's also one of like the questions that we might be
Right.
having, right?
All right. So yes, people ask me, are you asking me to intervene the violence moment?
Yeah.
What if I get hit?
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes it's just not about going there and asking them about stop it. Stop it right there. Though if you can do that, please do that, because the whole thing about this domestic violence about they want to exert their power onto the victim. They usually don't want to do it to other person. It's always to the
Yes.
person. So if you see that they're not carrying any weapons and all that, you just have to intervene. This stops right here, or just make a little bit more noise, that so more people will join you,
Yeah.
and they will stop right there. And sometimes, like I said, the ring a ring for roses, right? When you hear cries of abuse in your neighborhood, just go to your neighbor, ring the bell, because you intervene, you're interrupting the violence moment. Because the moment you interrupt it, he knows that, okay, I'm being watched, and that calms down. At least it keeps the survivor to be
Yeah.
safer from sometimes. And often, like I said, we look away because we don't know how to react to it. Just try intervening. Like if you see in a bus, you see this guy is trying to touch
Yeah,
inappropriately,
yeah.
just go in between. Just go in between, because he probably wants to do it to that person, because it looks more intimidating to her, but not to you. You just stop right, just intervene and push him away. That's it. And he will move away, because they will
They're
move
seen,
away.
yeah.
They are seen. The moment
yeah.
they are seen, they will move away. And this is exactly what we need to do in the community. Don't look away, because the more you look away, the more the perpetrators become like loose
Yeah.
and wild and do that.
If you show that you're actually fearful, like it
Yeah.
gives them more power to do.
Yes, I will stop it right there, and it will definitely stop.
Okay, like now that let's say like there are other viewers right here who wants to help out in that organization, like the other NGOs as well, like what is like the first step basically?
You see, the thing about the whole, for me, advocacy, we
Mhm.
make it very complicated at
Mhm.
times. For me, it's very simple.
Yeah.
So that's why all these women connect to me through social media,
Mhm.
very grassroots. Because all of us, you and me, if we have technology nowadays, no, I'm not talking about those who are a little bit more in the rural areas and all that, and the urban. You still have access to technology. You need to have Wi-Fi to do a lot of things. So I get them to access to me through social media. It's just like that. They can just PM me anytime on my social media. So I make it easy for them to access to me, and I don't complicate it for them. Like the moment they come to me, yes, I tell them that these are your rights. These are the resources that you need to go for your legal, if you need a police report, why you need to make a police report. If you need to go to one-stop crisis center in a government setting, there will be a medical officer there to look at your wounds. Yes, you can still choose not to make a police report, but at least you have documented the wounds, injury, and ensure that you're safe, right? And then moving forward, what are other organizations? What are the police reports? Number what? How to keep you safe at that point of time? Moving forward, what is your plan here on? So and then usually I'll refer them to all these organizations, talk to them, talk to a social worker, come back so that you're a little bit more calmer. I used to give them talk to them, but I think as time passed by, I need to focus on few other areas. So I get them connected. I bridge the gap. So basically, there's this organization where people are very fearful to go and connect. That I become the enabler,
because they're a little bit more intimidated, like who to talk to, what to do.
So
So you're literally just like one message away.
Yeah,
Probably
correct.
from Facebook or from Instagram.
Yeah, so and I'm like I'm just like them. I have children. I'm just like them. Some days I'm just so horrible at home. I pakai sarong. I'm very sarong. I cook, and some days I don't cook. I tell them that I'm just like you. I'm just no different. So you can connect to me anytime, and they are a little bit more comfortable. And that journey of engaging their trust is so important, because a survivor will never come out unless she trusts you. And I used to get these PMs by people, they just wave. I'll just wait. I know they're watching me, they're journeying with me, and then sometimes they say hi, and then I say hi, they don't reply me, but I know that they're watching me. They are taking all this information that I'm giving. So every day when I wake up in my Facebook, every day is like a mindset setting for them. And then moving on, I tell them an inspiring story. I feed them on some information. So every day they are learning one small thing. So sometimes maybe you can ask, she's not leaving, or why are you making your life so complicated? No, every time she decides that she's going to leave, that fear in her becomes lesser, and she learns a new thing. And every time she does that, she actually is taking one step further, one step further. And that is a very important journey, if you ask me, because when after that 7-12 time that she's ready, okay, I'm going to make a police report, that is already an action for her.
Yeah.
And right now I bridged the gap in between so that she's able to do that. I handhold the journey with her. Basically via social media, it's so easy, right? I don't have to be present there all the time, but they know that they're watching me. I write stories. I write a lot of stories. For me, though I can be a little bit more bad at my grammar, and I'm very Malaysian style of writing, but that's it. They can connect to me, they can journey with me. I just want to make it simple for them, and make it simple, easier, relatable, safe. Yeah, these are the things that I really want them to do, because only if that's done, they're able to do this kind of things. And that journey of preparing her is the most important journey. It's the intervention that I focus on.
That's really good. I mean, there's nothing more that I can say about that. One thing to know though, is that it's such a good idea. Social media is already there. It basically removed more than half of the effort just to get your message across.
Yes.
And it's also the form of communication in a way. At least for them, it makes you for them it's easier to feel that it's safe to share with you.
Yes.
And there are more stories. It's not just them, and all that. So let's move on to one of the latter parts. What advice do you have for women out there, especially right now, who are watching right now with us, who are subjected to domestic abuse? What's your advice to them?
All right. The first advice for you is know your rights. Know that you are being abused. So what are the types of abuse? Emotional. Most of us know it's physical, but physical is not the only one. The cycle of abuse, the pattern, how it goes and these are the things why often the survivors stay, right? And then the types of abuse, like I said, physical, mental, emotional, social, financial, all right? The moment you know all this, the next step, what are your rights? What does the law say? Okay, how does the law work? What is available for you? That's the next thing that you can get. So all this you can get connected to women's rights organizations like Women's Aid, 018-988-058 is the Tina WhatsApp line. You can call them if you want, fix an appointment, they call you back. So you know your rights, you know that you're being abused. What is the next step? You need to restore back your power dynamics. How do you do that? What are the things that is dependable? Do you have a support system? Usually, victims of DV, they don't tell their stories to their family. What will they think about me? What are they going to think about my family? Oh, I'm and we often have this thing, this DV is for B40 category. No, it is across the board. They can be from M40, they can be from T20, titled people, doctors, lawyers, even lawyers, okay? It doesn't matter, okay? So because the whole thing about DV is about the power dynamics of this whole, of course, the later part of it, the systemic oppression and all that, but the power of control is, all of us can be part of it. And sometimes they go through this because people don't believe in them. They go into this learned helplessness, I'm just going to stay. But removing each layer is when you're opening this onions, right? So you just
see the layers
layer by layer. So they know more, they journey. And leaving is a process. Though leaving is not the end point, but rebuilding yourself is the journey that we need to focus on. So from up to knowing her rights, being aware, she needs to know that she's being abused. Then the next is knowing her rights. What is the next step forward? So like me, I very much focus on financial independence. So what if I'm already financially independent? Work on your support system. Work on the self-esteem. Work on saying that this abuse stops right here. The moment you work on the support system, they know that there's someone who believes in her. Slowly she will liberate. And the more she has more people around her, like an army of people, which I'm trying to create through Ring a Ring for Roses movement, it will change. It will change, definitely. So it's a journey. It's not just one day journey. It takes about months to years at times. So some of our beneficiaries, it takes 2 years to see them coming and telling me success stories, but it matters. It doesn't matter how long she takes, but as long she rebuilds herself. That's the journey.
That's a journey. And I mean, we're here to reiterate that domestic abuse doesn't only happen it happens to any woman.
Absolutely.
Actually, not even just a woman. any people that we know
Absolutely.
of,
Yes, I would like to also
Yeah.
restate that it's not only about women, it's also about men. Men can go through as well. And with
Yeah.
domestic violence, it concludes whoever who lives in your home. It can be your in-laws. It can also be, your father or your mother or your brother, siblings and all that. It's a very domestic, and whoever lives under
Yeah.
one room. And of course, a more intimate partner violence is
Yeah.
what yesterday I saw an article, very sadly, 2 out of 4 women who are being abused, killed, murdered, happen to be killed by their spouse. So that's a very sad
Yeah.
state. This is a worldwide, data that I actually saw in the newspaper. Recently, we have been hearing a lot of things, and why is that we look away? Why is that all these are not being addressed? Because it is an issue that is very rampantly happening with the MCO or lockdown. TV was a pandemic, so shadow pandemic in a pandemic. How is it like? Why is it so? Because it feels like you're living in a pressure cooker, right? And the perpetrators now locked down with you.
Yeah.
It's very stressful situation. So the main reason I started Ring a Ring for Roses was because she cannot come out and he's locked down and he's like constantly watching her, and I was like suffocating. How else can I make her safe? So that's when I said, we need to call out for community intervention. So from there, today Ring a Ring of Roses is a movement now. So I have more volunteers in like working in like I just replicated whatever I used to do to these women into a team of people, so that I cannot be here all days, right? So I need to focus on other things. Maybe I won't be here one day, but this needs to go on. It's something that I'm that's my next step forward.
Yeah, we're looking forward. For people who wants to help, like to be a volunteer in Ring a Ring for Roses, like can you tell them like, how to reach you through, or like what's the first step for them if they really wanted to help out as well?
Okay, so we are reachable on our social medias. My Facebook, Vatsala Nair Manoharan, or our Facebook page, Ring a Ring for Roses. So that's our Facebook page. Mom's Village Malaysia is also our Facebook page. We are reachable all around this social medias. So they can just drop us an email. We also send them like a Google form, so we know that what are their expertise and how they can contribute. Like right now, my first line team is only counselors, either trained or registered counselors and psychologists, because and also they are trained with gender-based violence. Often we think that learned people are very intellectuals. Not everyone is trained or learned on gender-based violence. So we train them on this aspect of it, so they know how to react to these women or those who are reaching out to us. And the best part about this journey is that recently I had men, perpetrators who came forward to say that I want to help myself because I want to save my marriage. I just got a message like
That is
2
such
days
a
ago.
powerful, like
Yes.
it's a powerful like reaction coming
Yeah,
from them.
it could. I mean, for me, it could be during the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to do this, but it is still in benefit of the family. It's still in the benefit of the survivors. Okay, if that can be worked, then it's really good. But in Malaysia, we don't have better intervention program. I think that needs to be done as well. Other countries, I saw one, the Change Project and all that overseas, they already have that. So Malaysia, we need to come up with that, because we don't have that resources. Maybe the perpetrators or batterers are victims themselves. Like I said, children grow up in an abusive environment. They can be carrying those values. Yes. So if that can be intervened, again, generational healing, then it just stops. So maybe one day we'll just have a safe home without abuse happening, and we all can live happily ever after. That's the real happily ever after.
So what's your main goal? Like, I mean, looking forward, what are like your future, your future goals?
My future goals.
Because I mean, now it's like a huge leap. It's really a huge leap. So, I mean, you're like literally a super mom right now. So what's next for you?
What's next? Definitely making this movement, designing it and strategically planning it. I mean, right now, within a week or so, the first line crisis team will be deployed, and of course the social media team, and training these volunteers. Sometimes you see on social media they do this marketing, right? It's the same people, the same product. They'll go on PM, but that increases the visibility of the product. I'm just going to use the same concept. I'm just going to train this tribe of army of people, go and teach these women or this men or this community about domestic abuse, gender-based violence, so that they know, at least when they know, they don't talk, they don't normalize it. They don't, they don't say unrelated, unsensitive
Yeah.
statements,
Basically, it's more of like you are basically educating them.
Yeah,
That's literally like the first step in,
correct.
after being conscious of like what's happening, you
Yeah.
need to educate yourself, then others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So training them so
Mhm.
they can be deployed. And the second phase of it to get more. So it's not only about survivors, also the batterers to
Mhm.
come forward. What other options we have for the batterers,
Yeah.
So putting it into a design, of course, the second part of it is that the funding comes in. So I need to go and pitch this somewhere and ask for people and all that. But I do want to make it big. I don't know, maybe one day I can come up with this chaos whereby it just someone scan, like AI, artificial intelligence, scan them all the bruises and lock them up in the safe space so that help can be deployed and all that. And this chaos can be there at every every neighborhood and all that. Yeah, this is like a bigger plan,
Yeah.
maybe like 20-30 years time. Maybe I have a robot for that. But yes, right now it's about definitely coming up with a proper design for the Ring for Roses. And next upon is e-commerce website plus crisis call e-commerce website for all these women.
Yeah.
It's not about the only women who are undergoing domestic violence, it's just every women, so that these women who are my specific beneficiary can be part of this wonderful community as well. So this is what I'm working forward right now. Yeah.
That's gonna be that's a huge, that's like a 10-year mark. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully like 2-year mark plan.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like before we almost end our session, like I mean, there's a lot of like moms, stay-at-home moms, or entrepreneurs, even like even young entrepreneurs who really want to make a mark, but they don't know what to do, or like they don't know where to start. Do you have any advice for them, with regards to ideation, or like who to call, what to read, or like what to expect? So please, the floor.
All right. I mean, the first thing you need to, if you're doing business, right, you need to solve a problem in this world. You cannot just come up with a product that you think is the best. You need to solve a problem in this world that provides value for other people. So you need to validate your product. It's just so important. It doesn't matter whether you're just a home-based entrepreneur, or you're actually MNC or whatever. Your product needs to solve a problem. All right, then you have a market. And don't be afraid to just try it out. You need to talk. For me, the most important lesson that I learned was to hustle shamelessly. I just have no shame nowadays. I just ask people if I want. If I need to ask money, I say, okay, I need to do this. Just give me the money, grant, and I will do this. So that's good. That's the pitching part of it, the putting in a nicer way. But I don't know something. I ask people, how do I do this? How do I do this? This is the end point. How do I get there? How can you help me do that? I only know this. What else do I need to know? The only thing that you can do things better is by learning about it. So there's so many entrepreneurship programs. If your product is good, go and pitch for it. Send your proposal. They might even get you in. Like how I got into Magic. There's Magic, there's MDEC. There's so many organizations that are offering this kind of workshop. Go and learn about it. All right. And of course, if you're a homepreneur, you're so afraid. How do I go? How do I leave my children and go? That's why we are here. That's why Moms Village is here, because we understand your pain points. So yes, you can get connected to us, and we'll just grow through this journey, together and all that. But there's one word: hustle shamelessly, learn, unlearn, relearn. It's just that's the endless journey. That's all.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
So before we end, like where do we? I mean, can you tell us like where we can reach your, like our viewers can reach you again?
Okay, yeah. My Facebook page is Moms Village Malaysia.
We'll also put it down there.
Yes,
in the
and then
description
we
below.
also have Magic Seed Malaysia.
Mhm.
That's the product, and we have our group, a community group called Homepreneur Empowerment Network, also on Facebook as well. So you can just check us out all there. And yes, we're also on Instagram, Moms Village _MV. And yes, I'm pretty much available both on my Instagram and my social media. Very, very reachable, very approachable, and very nice too. All right. Okay. But yes, it has to be a very intellectual conversation, right? So yeah, that's about
That's
it.
So again, thank you so much for being with us today, sharing us everything that there is to know about. Basically, this is not just like about entrepreneurship nor like VW. It's basically about you and a survivor, like, you know, putting herself back on her feet through social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for being with us today. And if you have any other questions, please put it down in the description or like the comment boxes below. Again, thank you so much, and we hope that you have a very wonderful weekend. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, see so many people here.
Oh yeah, so we have like, Women Friday. Thank